Hello and welcome back to the Age of Sunbros YouTube channel. This is Sir Shark Dad, and we are here with another Civilization Spotlight, and today it's going to be Hausa. So we just did Ethiopia, and so we figured we'd follow up with the next African Civ, which is going to be Hausa. And I'm joined here by our resident-owned caster, as well as fearless leader of the YouTube channel, as well as just a big guy in the scene, one of my good friends, McCleves, to talk about Hausa. Easily one of the, you're like a top 10 player now at this point, top 1%, I'm guessing, in Hausa, but he's going to lend his expertise on this Civ. So thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, very nice. I'm excited to be here, and as usual, of course.
Okay, so let's get into this right away. So if you need more context on African civs in general and how they work mechanically, maybe go watch the Ethiopian video.
Yeah.
Just that will kind of lay out some more definitions for you. But as it stands, so this is Hausa. And I want to ask you, McCleves, what is the kind of like, if I'm new to the game, I'm like, these people seem kind of cool. I want to play Hausa. I like their flag. What are the big strengths, you would say, and what are the big weaknesses of Hausa as it stands in the current meta?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think one of the very obvious big strength that Hausa has is how they have dragoons in H2. You know, this is one of the few civs that have a good dragoon unit, and a very strong archer to pair with that. So Skirm Goon in H2. And then I would say their economy is quite decent, is good, and they can be quite boomy, and they can also be quite aggressive. They're kind of versatile.
Okay, so super versatile Civ, Skirm Goon combination H2. But what would you say is like a big weakness or drawback?
Right. Hausa is a shipment penalty, so they're a little bit slow with the shipments, and they can lack some tempo sometimes. So especially against civs like Spain, for example, or USA, this is very noticeable.
Okay, gotcha. So lacking shipments as well. And so besides the everything that kind of makes Hausa unique as an African Civ, what would you say is like their big win condition? Would you say that they're like a rush Civ or like an H3 kind of Civ? How would you classify them?
This is a very difficult question for Hausa because they tend to be played in different ways. So I know that there's an FF, an account FF, which is pretty popular. But on the other hand, a lot of especially the higher elo players, they like to play more H2 and be a little bit boomy. You've got different starts. We'll probably cover that later. I would say a boomy type of Civ that can be quite aggressive at the same time, but it also has an option for a backup option for FF if you want, which
Gotcha.
can be really good.
Okay. All right. Well, then, speaking about those playstyles and what everything is, let's just get right into it. Then let's go ahead and start building a deck. So what I have here for you is a test deck. Think of it as you are the painter and this is your canvas. We are going to build a standard 1v1 Hausa deck. Just for land, we'll build a water deck in a second, or we'll add water to this deck in a second. But what is, we'll go by age, and you can kind of tell me exactly what you would have in a standard Hausa deck, and then we'll kind of walk through and we'll explain it, and I'll have some questions for you. So starting in age 1, what would you include here?
All right, so this is a little bit dependent on whether you're planning to age up fast or not.
Okay.
But I would have, of course, the 3 villagers. You know, that's always the first card.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the Pulaku Code, which is an economic theory card. Yes, that one.
Okay.
Which is stronger on natural resources. So it's basically a stronger. Well, as long as you're on natural resources, it's a stronger version of the economic theory. And then the last card that I would include is Hausa Kingdom.
Okay.
Because it this is a card that upgrades over time. So every time you go up an age, it will send some extra. Will start with only university, then it adds a trade builder, then it adds the next age, it adds a palace builder and a town center, and so on. So this is a very good scaling card, basically.
Okay, so it sends you like a wagon card every
Yeah,
age up. Okay.
And it's especially important for age 3 timings, I think.
Okay, interesting. Because in age 3 you have a palace builder. So in exploration age you
No,
sorry.
sorry to cut you. It's more because you get the trade builder in H2, so you'll send it in H2 actually, but it will give you the tempo you need for the FF.
Okay, does it retroactively send things? So like if I send it in H2,
No,
it won't send the university builder?
no, it will. Sorry. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, it will.
Okay.
So you'll get both.
Okay, so this is a good stopping point here. So can you explain to me what a university is?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, this is a very good to continue with this because it kind of hooks into the topic we just covered. Because the influence is a building that is gonna trickle some resource to you. So you've got a choice between XP, which we know, which is going to give you the tempo we just talked about, or and that's a default option, influence. And influence is a special resource for Hausa, which I suppose you covered it with Ethiopia as well. It pays you, it pays for natives, mercenaries, some technologies, and cannons.
Okay, got it. So the university is a kind of a trickle point. So I can either trickle XP or influence with the university, and then
Yeah, and it gets stronger according to what buildings you place it next to. So it's got a base rate. I'm not entirely sure. I think it's like one point something, and then or maybe 0.75. And then if you put it next to a town center, it will be stronger. And if you put it next to a palace, which is like a little fort, it will be stronger. And then if you put it next to a trade post, it will be even stronger, and it stacks.
okay, got it. So then is a university, is it like a church where it's like for techs, or is it like can I train units from it?
You can, yeah, it's like a church because you can train some priests, which are called griots, which is a special house unit. We'll probably cover that later.
Okay.
And you get some technologies from it, just like the mountain monastery with Ethiopia. So you get the basically, if you when you age up, you choose a certain alliance. You choose, for example, you choose to ally with the Akans, and then you get to train some of their native units, and then you get some technologies available in the university.
Okay. And then how many can I build? Do you know?
How many units or universities?
Universities.
Oh, right. I don't know that by heart. I think. Oh, yeah. This is a tricky one. I'm not quite sure. I know that there are some cards that expand the build limit though, mostly in further ages. But I would say like if you go like full, yeah, it's probably like 7 or 8, and then maybe expandable.
Okay, got it.
But they're quite expensive. 200 wood and 200 gold.
Okay. So then you send this, and then you end up getting a trade builder, which I'm guessing is like you can build a trade post with that, and then you get a university builder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can actually. No, my bad. Yeah. It's just a trade builder. So basically, that gives you 400 in H2. It gives you 400 wood and 200 coin.
Okay, got it. And then in H3, it goes but then if you send it in H3, it will be the palace builder, trade builder, university builder.
Yeah,
so you get
and the palace is again 400 resources, so it's like it kind of keeps in line with normal shipment values.
Okay, got it. Okay, cool. So interesting card. So we have these 3. Are there any other age one?
No, I just wanted to add one thing. Is that the Hausa Kingdom card can be sent in transition, and so you time it so that it arrives right after your age, which means you get an H3 shipment before you even are able to click the flag once aged up. So it's like
okay,
yeah,
interesting. Okay,
Maybe some cards we can talk about very quickly.
Sure.
There's some people like to use the four cattle. If you know, this is for an all-in rush, maybe. There's a fort card, a palace card that I like to use sometimes for very specific. This one, yeah, for very specific turtle builds. And then next to this one, there's the university, the madrasa card on the left. This one. And this is a very nice card in team games mostly, and it helps you train faster.
Oh, okay, cool. That's super cool. Can we talk for a second about the cattle here? So, are Senga cattle any different from Zebu cattle from Ethiopia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're brown.
Okay.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's good. Okay, so then that's about it. Got it. So
There's a big difference.
Okay.
There's a big difference actually, because unlike Ethiopia, Hausa actually gets one cattle with every shipment, so that's really important.
Oh, okay. So you get one cattle for every shipment.
Right.
Okay, so then you can just eat, but it's the same principle, right? So you go and it's still, you can sell it at the market for an exchange of either coin or wood, or you can eat the cattle for food. Does it still give you? It gives you influence though at the market as well if it sits right. It generates influence,
and which is more if they are fully fattened too.
Right.
You just don't run out as quickly as Ethiopia does.
Okay, I see. So House is a little bit better in terms of the cattle economy than you would say, because just simply because you get free cattle. Okay.
Yeah, Ethiopia is a bit better at gathering influence manually, you know, with the mines that can gather influence, but Hausa is better in the long run for your influence.
Okay, interesting. Just because they get better trickle, I'm guessing, from that.
Yeah, and also with the universities.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other source of influence for Hausa?
Well, of course, if you upgrade the trade line to stagecoach or beyond that, you'll be able to get influence from there.
Okay, so you can choose for an influence delivery through the trade post. So instead of just the standard resources or XP, you can also opt for influence.
Yeah, if you upgrade it, yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right. Any other honorable mentions in Age 1 for you that you want to talk about?
I think we kind of covered it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to move into Age 2 now. And so plenty of cards here, obviously. So and we'll end up talking a little bit more about units here as well. So feel free to get started and tell us what you would have in Age 2.
Right. So just like most, if you want a 700 wood and a coin, this is a very standard 700 coin. You want it to be able to age up at some point, and the wood to put down infrastructure and to train some units.
Right.
Then there's the 7 Fulanis. This is very important. 7 Fulanis is one of the stronger shipments, I think. This is an archer, but it's stronger than a crossbow. You know, it shoots like a crossbow a little bit. It has a very good animation. It's actually better than a crossbow, I'd argue. It has kind of low damage, but relatively high multiplier. And most importantly, it has the 1.5 rate of fire with a very good animation.
Okay, so this
combination.
So this is like your archaic skirmisher. So are they?
Yeah.
Are they more of a longbow type where they're supposed to like stand and fight, or do they kite?
They kite very well. It's a Yumi type archer, I would say, but with higher rate of fire.
Ooh, so even better. So I'm guessing they're
lower damage.
Oh, lower damage. Okay, I see. All right, interesting. How's their health? Are they pretty low HP units as well, or?
They're quite tanky. I think they're 120 HP, if I'm correct.
Oh wow. Okay, strong. All right, interesting.
Yeah. It's a very strong unit. It's about 75 food and 35 wood, something like that.
Okay.
So it's not cheap, but it's good.
Okay. All right, so that's the Fulani. So that's your Age 2. You don't get there isn't a special Age 3 skirmisher for Hausa, is there? Or is it just the Fulani still?
No, there is a mercenary or an outlaw option that you could use, but it's H2 as well.
Okay, and then because I was just wondering if like you got like something like the equivalent of an Atenia.
Sure, but it's also quite upgradable. You know, you can get a few cards that expand their range. Also, we didn't talk about the range, but their H2 range is 17, so that's quite high as well.
Oh my gosh. Wow. All right. So can really reward some good micro then for kiting, and then you have that
Yes,
increased
it's
range.
I would say it's a pretty micro-intensive unit, but it's very strong.
Okay. Cool. So that's the Fulani. So if you guys are watching this and you're like, oh, I don't know about Hausa, and then it's like, well, these Fulani maybe will convince you to try out the Civ. So what's next in
Yeah.
H2?
I would definitely include the 5 raiders as well. This is just the next card in a row. 5 raiders are, if you know what step riders are in China, it's a one population cavalry that does good siege damage, but has quite low HP. That's basically the same thing, except they're trainable in the war camp, and you can ship them. They're a little bit stronger. They got a multiplier against light infantry, or to be specific, they have a multiplier against infantry and then a debuff against heavy infantry.
Oh, okay, I see. And then, but so they're not like the I forget what that unit, that native unit that it's like it's a hand cav that counters other cavalry. These are not that, right?
Oh, the Shin? No, not at all.
Okay.
These are really these are basically weak against anything that isn't light infantry or buildings.
Okay. So they're really meant for obviously in the name for raiding, right? They're for sieging and
Yeah,
taking out
and
vills.
and they even have the siege trooper tag, or a siege unit, I think, which means that they don't take any extra damage from towers.
Oh, okay. Good
Or
to know.
basically, it cancels out with the cav bonus from towers. Yeah.
Okay. Does that include the TC fire? So like if I have 10 vills
Um,
in the TC?
we'd have to check that. I'm
Okay.
not quite sure.
All right. All right, cool. So then you have the raiders here. So that's going to be good. So would you say these make up the bulk of your cavalry force, like when I'm making hand cav, or is there a different hand cav that I would be using instead of the raiders? Because they're not like a hussar. So
Unless you go for outlaws, this is the only cav you can train in H2. Or there is a card that changes this as well. But considering how cost efficient raiders are, you're probably better off just training those. Yeah.
okay. I should ask throughout the game that if like H3, H4, am I going to continue to train raiders? Is that going to be the bulk of my hand
Yes.
cavalry? Yeah.
I would totally argue so. The Liphides are very expensive, which is your H3 alternative, basically. They're very expensive, so you will ship them, but not train them, mostly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so we have 4 cards now in H2. What's next?
I would definitely add Palace of Amina. It's a great card.
All right, where
It has
is
some
that?
very... It's like a lady with a one...
A lady. Oh, Amina.
Yeah, that's it. It's her. It sends a palace wagon, so that's pretty simple. You can, if you already had a university, you can basically put it next to the university to buff the university's output. And otherwise, it's a nice defensive building. It's a shipment point. It also acts as a saloon, so you can actually train mercenaries and outlaws from there. Not outlaws, sorry, just mercenaries. And you get 300 influence, which is very helpful to different aspects of Hausa. So this is very dependent on what age up you've taken. You can use it to either take some sort of technology, or you can use it if you aged with Songhai. You can use it to get your big button from the town center, which grants you 5 raiders. Or if you age with Hausa, you can use it to get a wagon from your town center, which can build, for example, another university or a palace. And lastly, if you age with, sorry, maybe not lastly, but if you age with like a Khan, you can train native units. And lastly, if you age with Berber, you can get some Berber villagers. So it's very versatile. It completely depends what you age with.
Okay, gotcha. So lots of variable options when we'll talk a little bit more about age ups when we get into the actual skirmish, but so this is just a good card, and like you said, the palace will end up increasing that influence trickle on the university. So would you say like if I'm making a forward base, would I put my university and my palace forward then, or do I keep these buildings defensively so to keep my university safe?
Well, since the university gets a trickle from your town center as well, I would place it defensively. Yeah, at least the first one. if you get the second one, that's probably next to a trade post or so.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. So we have this one now in H2. What's next?
Yeah, the only these are we just doing like mandatory cards first, or
Yeah, I mean, it's your deck. If you're telling, like, let's say I'm brand new.
okay? So we make a complete deck then.
Oh yeah.
In that case, I would add Gananchi, which is the 5 Akan card.
Okay, got it. So that should be. Sorry, there it is down to the left.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
and this one costs a little bit of influence. You can, for example, you could use the influence from Powers of Amina to get this, or maybe you already have this much influence if you had your university trick in. And it gives you 5 accounts, which are, that's just a normal unit shipment, 5 musketeers, a little bit weak maybe, but it also now enables you to train them in your barracks.
Okay.
Account is maybe I should just quickly cover
please.
what this. All right. Account is a musketeer, and it's a musketeer with area damage. So it shoots two units at once. And it's a little bit expensive, as you can see. It's 75 food and 40 wood coin, but you also get for that you get a musketeer that's like a little bit tankier than normal musketeers as well, and they shadow tech. So once you reach the next age, they'll automatically age up. And
Nice.
The last part about this card is that normally this is a native unit, and it will make it so that you can actually train them from your barracks, and they will cost 1 population, so they don't actually count towards your native build limit.
Interesting. So you can just, but they're. So what sets them apart from other musketeers, though? I guess is
the area damage.
So they do an area damage.
Yeah, they do the area damage. Yeah, and they're a bit tankier and a bit lower damage, normal damage.
Okay, got it. But they same kind of like they can resist hand cavalry, right? Because they don't have a bayonet on, but they do good melee damage against cavalry.
Yeah, a little.
Oh.
But they still have to fire.
You cut out a little bit. What did you say to that?
Oh, I said that they still have the modifier, but they do a bit less than normal musketeers because their base damage is a bit lower.
Gotcha. Okay, interesting. But then they don't necessarily count as natives once you send this card. They're just.
They might still have to tank, but they don't count towards the build limit.
Okay, got it. All right, and then they wouldn't cost influence though when you train them, or do they cost influence with this?
No.
Card? Okay.
No, they cost 75 food and 40 coins, so it's a bit more expensive than a normal musketeer. And added to this, if you did age with account, you can also train your build limit worth of influence costing accounts.
Okay, gotcha.
And those don't of course don't count towards your population limit.
So these are kind of like, would you say these are like the star of your composition? Like this is like the bulk of what you tend to make as Hausa, or is it going to be the Fulani?
This is very dependent on what units you're facing, what civ you're facing, and on playstyle as well.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. So that's a lot on the Econocobia. So just everybody knows, it's like that's a big part of Hausa. So I'll let you just keep going. So we're at 6 now for H2.
Yeah, let me just add maybe one thing about the account. So it's a bit counterintuitive sometimes. It's a musketeer that beats archers because, not if they're microed correctly, but the area damage means that if you get close, you'll just mow down anything that's like packed together, and archers tend to kind of pack together a little bit. Mm-hmm. And also archers tend to not be able to kite very well, so you can just walk up to them and just kill all of them. So they are, sometimes you can really just like walk into a countering, and walk into a group of units that kind of counters you and just decimate it. Doesn't work against kiting units though.
That's rough. Can you just imagine?
Well, it's like grenadiers basically.
Right. Okay. All right. I mean, listen, if you're in extended H2, right, that's what you're going to want to do, I'm guessing, because somebody's going to mass a ton of crossbows or whatever their light infantry is in H2, and they think, oh, well, you're making heavy infantry with the Econ, but then you just blow them up, and that's a game 1 right there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would say that's more about your opponent being H2 than yourself, because another option is if you would go H3 and you send this card in transition, and you H with the accounts, which is basically the account FF build. You'll have this card for 5. You'll age up with 8, so that's like a total of 13, and then they'll instantly age up because they shadow attack, and then
Nice.
you have
Okay.
an H3 unit right away.
I see. Okay. All right. So that's okay. I see. The wheels are turning. Got it. That's going to be super
Yeah.
cool. So, all right. Besides the icon, what else do we have in H2?
Um, Let me just check what I have here. So really after this is like the base or the skeleton of your deck, I would say, and even the Gananshi card is like up to whether you like to use Musketeers or not. But after this, I like, especially for team games, I like to have some cavalry upgrades. For 1v1, maybe a bit less. It kind of, yeah, this is really flexible. I would just, I would just add cards a bit to your taste. So depending on what civ you're facing, maybe you want some more cavalry cards to, like, if you think you're like, for example, if you would play against Portugal, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to add cavalry cards because they're gonna have dragoons.
Right.
But if you play against Ottomans, Ottomans might just like go H4, and you'll have a lot of use out of your raiders. Same with Italy.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, sorry.
No. I mean, I see what you're saying, and so just give us your best effort. Like, what do you think is a kind of a catch-all? If there are any other cards in H2 that you would add, that you feel like, yeah.
Let's see. If it also depends whether you're gonna be aggressive or not. But if you, I would say Spice Trade is probably a good option because House is pretty food intensive. Most of the units cost a lot of food.
Okay.
So this is probably one of the cards that can fit in kind of any deck. Cav HP or damage if you are planning to stay in H2 and make a lot of raiders. And if you aren't, then you might go for like 700 influence, maybe an extra coin crate, maybe not silversmith, maybe four grills, maybe one of the influence costing unit cards. If you want to be really aggressive.
Okay. Since we've mentioned them a couple times, let's talk about the griots
Yeah.
now while we're here. So exactly, what are these musicians and storytellers, and what do they do?
Right. So in the basis, this is just a healer, right? It heals your units. That's their primary function. But they get very important in fights as well. Just like the Ethiopian counterparts, which heal fighting units. These don't do that, but they have a sort of attack which they use on opponent units. It makes a lot of noise. It's doo-doo, and it's really it usually really confuses your opponents. It's very good. And basically what it does, it takes it decreases the opponent's rate of fire by 40%.
Wow.
And yeah, this is great, especially against some units that already have a high rate of fire, like cannons, for example. It does so with a little bit of area damage. So I think it does like in the baseline it's like 3 area damage, something like that, 2 or 3. And then there's a card in later on that expands the area damage, and it makes, like, if you really micro them properly, you can stun a whole army and make it like shoot really slowly, and then it gets like really strong, and also it does a little baseline damage as well.
Okay.
But not
So you keep them in a control group. So so I have a couple of questions about the griots. So what do they do when you are not in combat? Like, how do you use them? Because it's not like the Abun that is on a mountain monastery.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But well, first off, you can heal your army. That's always very good to do. And then there's another option, which is you can actually task them on a building, and it will increase the train speed or research speed if it's for attacks. And this works on basically any building. Yeah, it does like 10% though. It's not that much, but still pretty nice.
Okay, so how do you usually use them when you're not in combat? Like, your army's healed. So what building do you put them on?
Honestly, it's easy to forget to do this at all. It's a lot of micro because you need to micro them individually. Not you don't use a control group. I wouldn't say on these. You really have to like micro each grill apart from each other, which is a lot of work. You know, this is not the easiest unit to get right, but it does have 18 range, I think, or 16. So it's you know it does have quite some quite a decent. It's not that hard to use, but it's just that you have to like really do all of them apart from each other, and it makes me often to get back to your question. I often forget to even put them in a single building at all. But I think the most useful one would be your town center.
Okay, so because then they can speed up the villager production.
Yeah.
Okay.
By 10%.
Okay. I'm guessing there's also builds out there that put them on the university, I'm guessing, where they can kind of increase the influence trickle.
It doesn't do that. It only increases research rates for texture units.
Okay. Okay. So town center's best, and then can they heal? My second question was, can they heal during
Barracks.
combat like the Abun?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No. They have their attack, which is basically the replacement of this, which is I would argue that it's almost stronger than, especially if microed correctly, then it's really strong.
They seem to be a little bit easier to use in my opinion because it's not like the Abun that are like gatherers amongst your villagers, but then also healers that you have to use, and then you send them back. Whereas the griot can be specifically for military, like you said, you can just keep them on the war camp and then send them out with the army, you know, if you wanted to.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Although you have to micro them more. But yeah, I agree. They do have a little bit less hit points. They got nerfed by 100 hit points. So they're compared to other healers that are usually 360, these are at 260.
Okay, and then, but you said only put this for griot card if you're trying to be really aggressive. You wouldn't have it necessarily in like a standard semi-FF deck necessarily.
Yeah, well, maybe if you expect to be attacked really hard in H2, that's kind of, you know, it's a unit shipment basically. So, but you don't really need it. So it can be good. One thing I want to add about the unit shipments that ship griots, so this one is of course one of them. They all expand the build limit, so you can only have so many griots, and sending this card will actually help you. And if you go H5, it will do the same effect again, so it will expand your build limit again.
Okay. And how many griots do you train griots from the town center or from the university? I'm guessing the university. And then
yeah, it's the university.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
And they cost 150 coin, just like an Abun.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm going to remove these from this deck, but then I think this seems good to me, right? 700 influence and cav damage, and anything else you want to mention?
Yeah. Well, the Sudanese, or you know, either of these big cards can be nice if you feel like you will have the influence, which isn't always the case. It's kind of hard to fit in, I think, if you also wanna have Gananchi in there, but.
What do you like out of these four? What's your preference?
I think. Well, again, it really depends what city you're up against, but I would like. I sometimes I use the Sudanese, sometimes the legionaries. These ones, the Yoruba legionaries.
Okay.
They are powerful, and one of their main downsides is that they train very slowly, but that of course doesn't affect the shipment.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So let's just do. I
think I like to use the Sudanese because of the big mass.
Yeah.
It's just scarier.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, so that's age 2 done, but like you said, it's totally flexible. Lots of different builds we can do. It really depends on the matchup, you know. And so, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be follow-up videos to this with you, where we'll kind of talk more about Hausa and get this is for like a baseline for your average player. Eventually, we'll do more intense, kind of larger, in-depth videos that will kind of explain various builds and put things on offer. I'm sure we're working on that, but. So this is good. Just everybody, if you're watching, just know that this is kind of it's highly matchup dependent, as McCleves said. And wonderful thing is, you can join our Discord and you can send him an app message and ask him how to play Hausa, and he will teach you. So this is just treat this as a sort of like a generic baseline. So let's go ahead and move on to age 3, the Fortress Age. Lots of things here to talk about. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to fit all the cards you want in H3. H3 is very stacked. Let's go over the cards that you absolutely need. 10. The first card is Yukinawa. It's the 5 grids, 5 villages shipment. This is a huge card. This is so much
Wow.
value.
Yeah.
It's great.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't say anything. It's just great. Grids are 150 coins. So if you just calculate the value, you get 500 coin and 750 coin and 500 food, if I'm
Right.
correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
Yeah.
that's quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's a great economic shipment, and at the same time, the grids can help you with your military. This is just great. Yeah, I would argue that 1,000 wood is probably something that you need in any deck at all.
Okay.
This is like with any civ. This is just you just need this card.
Okay.
Needed to build town centers, to upgrade units, to build barracks, whatever. Build train Falanis. Yeah, so very important. 1,000 influence is also a huge one. This is absolutely massive. You can use it if you age with Hausa. You can use it to make town center wagons, but more importantly, you can use this to train cannons, and that's just huge. It's your equivalent of a 2 Falk shipment, but it's way slower because you need to like train them first.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right. That's same as Ethiopia, right? It's like they have that
Yeah,
FF where, and then it.
just the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha.
Then I would say 9 Fulani is big, 5 Lefidi is big. Yeah, 9 Fulani kind of speaks for itself.
Right.
5 Lefidi, maybe I should like
Yeah.
go
Let's
a
talk
little
about
bit into
Lafidi.
Lefidi.
What are Lafidi?
Lefidi, so Lefidi are like a heavy cavalry. It's your Hussar equivalent, but it's a little bit different to a Hussar because it has double resistance. So this means that they have, I think, 10% range resistance, where normal Hussar is 20, but they also have 15% melee resistance. So they're quite tanky too. They have a little bit more HP than a normal Hussar, but they do have quite low damage. So it's basically a very tanky Hussar that can kind of resist both attacks. It's a bit slower and it's very expensive. It costs 110 food and 110 coin.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super expensive. You don't usually train these just because of that, but the shipments are still really nice.
Okay. But you said like you don't really train them. They're like these like really tanky, like hand cap that don't hit very hard, right? But they kind
Yeah,
of body block and they're like meat shields, right? But you don't
yeah.
personally train them too much. You just ship them.
Well, the problem is that they're so expensive, and they kind of. Uh, I feel like 2 raiders is better than 1 Lefidi. We don't have any raider shipments, but even then, I think the Lefidi, like considering how much value you get out of a Lefidi shipment, it's kind of just really good, and you
Mm-hmm.
kind of need the tanking. The awkward part is when you mix Lefidis and raiders. The Lefidis slow down the raiders like crazy because the Lefidis have 6.25 speed and the raiders have got 7.
Wow. They're
Yeah,
fast. Really
yeah,
fast.
it's a big difference.
Okay. And do you end up making? And I know you're going to say it's probably matchup dependent, but like, how do you feel about the javelin riders, which are, your dragoon unit? Do you end up using those a lot, or do you feel like no, you
Yeah.
just okay, you do?
No, you definitely use those, especially if you're making Falanis as well. You just need these to go together.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of need these,
Okay.
unless maybe you're massing accounts. That's the only exception.
Right. That'd be a little bit different.
Yeah, I would definitely add 4 Lefidi as well. Actually, that's mostly like that's still very good value because it's 220 res each, so that's like still kind of 1,000 res almost.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you like unit shipments, then eight javelin riders isn't crazy, but we probably have this 2 stacked to actually include them. So I would suggest to use the Fulani range card.
Okay.
Folio Tactics.
Is
No,
this
this is the combat. It's the one with the dude with a sword. It's like next to the combat cards there.
the dude with the
On the left.
sword?
Yeah. To the left, it's like on next to the combat card, the Fulani combat card, but on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, one more to the left. Yeah.
Okay, dude with the sword. Here he is. Photo Tactics.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
So that adds like 3 range to your range.
Wow. So you end up hitting a 20 range then
Yes.
in H3. Okay.
So they basically become skirms but with a bit of a lower multiplier against heavy infantry.
Okay, interesting. So, and I guess, yeah, that line of sight too is pretty huge. Wow, it's a really good card.
Well,
Okay.
it complements the extra range. Otherwise, you can't. You know, it's hard to shoot outside of your line of sight.
Okay, gotcha. All right. What's next?
I would say Fulani combat is probably very good.
Fulani Archer combat. Okay, so we're doubling down on the
yeah.
Fulani here. So that's definitely the star of the show here. Is just a core of Fulani. You're gonna have a lot of cards.
Yeah, most games, you'll always need some skirm units in your composition. You know, whatever civ you're playing, it's almost always one of the base units. So I would say that, well, that's my experience at least. So I would say that yeah, you probably want this. And then maybe the Akan combat, or it's not Akan combat, it's like native and outlaws combat. It's called Sahelian Kingdoms. It's with the
this
2
one,
sables.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this affects the Akan then, because it's a native warrior type.
Yeah, because exactly.
Okay.
And if you happen to make any mercenaries, it affects them too.
Okay.
So that's nice.
Is there a lot of mercenary play, like kind of how Ethiopia does, where you can just keep making mercenaries, yeah, and from your influence? No, it's not like that.
Well, it's possible, but usually it's better to make cannons, and yeah. Well, that's basically the answer.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm.
Okay, but this is mainly for your Akan, this Sahelian Kingdoms, then.
Well, yeah, and if you don't use accounts, then you can take this card out of your deck, of course.
Okay, gotcha. All right, what's next? Anything else in H3?
Yeah, for sure. We got Maguzawa with the 2 trumpets, and this is right, and this is exactly this. As you see, your grill does 50% more damage, well, on the baseline damage, which is really low, but it also increases your area damage by 50%, and that's huge.
Okay. But the griot stances don't change anything about their effect. It's always just stunning the units, right? Like slowing them down.
Well, it changes the sound.
That's it. It's just the sound. But
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right, cool. So that's massive. I'm guessing you would want to send that at some point before like the big deciding fight, right? To have that in, and then suddenly, you got 5 or 10 griots just going do do do, and just the whole thing is stunned up. That's kind of crazy. Wow.
Yeah, if you had any griots in the first place, you definitely want to send this, but. It's not a must-have card. I wouldn't say that, but it is very good.
Okay, cool. So, any other honorable mentions that you want to talk about in H3? Anything else that you would want to?
Yeah, there's definitely some. I would say that Senegalese Tirailleur is is the team card in the second row. It's a team ranged infantry card, very strong. For team games, and it's even in normal games it buffs both the Akan and the Fulani, so that's really nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. I feel like the French have this card too, or something like it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other mentions?
Yeah, so maybe for honorable mentions, so there's a few of them. So there's actually quite a lot of them. There's still a javelin rider combat card. So if you are really going into Skirm Goon, then this is a must-have.
Okay,
I would say.
Got it.
It adds some extra bonus damage against cavalry and some HP.
Okay.
Then there is the first card in the row in the whole yeah, this one. So Air Burbers, this is a boomy type of card. So if you had a lot of trade posts, you'll get like one of those bourbon nomads, which is a very strong villager, which has like more HP, more gather rate on natural resources, and you get one for each TP that you have, and each town center as well.
Okay.
So if you
So
went pretty boomy,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so then Hausa wants to build. They want to own that trade post line then, I'm guessing, for
Right.
influence and all that. Okay, got it.
And maybe for the universities next to them as well. So it's a really nice. If you had like let's say you had an extended H2, you managed to take the trade line, you build some universities, you get to H3, maybe you build an extra TC, maybe not, and then you send this card, you'll have like 5 or 6 vills probably, more like 4 or 5. It really depends the map.
Okay. What else is there?
We've got the 15 Sudanese, so it's like the H2 card, but a bit stronger. It also costs 500 influence.
Okay.
Then it's the last card, yeah.
Oh. Wow. 15.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. But it does cost influence, which is kind of hard to get, especially early on, and you probably want to use it for cannons. So it's you can get it, but it kind of depends what you want to do with your influence. And then there's similar mercenary cards, so Senna Horseman, which is a like sort of Mamluk shipment, but not quite as good. And maybe the last. Oh, actually, I forgot a very important card. But it's the 9 cattle card that's in like in the top row. This is a very important card. So this card gives you a livestock market builder. So you already get one at the start of the game, of course,
Right.
and then you get a second one, and it gives you 8 cattle. And your 8 cattle are gonna be. Well, they're going to be gathering influence. They're going to be good economic value over time. You can probably sell them at some point, and it's just this is a long-term economic card. It's pretty good. I would probably take it in most decks, although I don't always end up sending it, honestly. So it's like, yeah, it's good. You could take it into this deck, I suppose.
Okay. And what's also interesting is that you guys don't have you guys as in Hausa, there's no like a Big Benny equivalent card.
No.
Okay. Interesting.
No, because we get
The
a
free
cattle with each
yeah,
card.
so then,
Yeah.
having another one would be too much.
There's 2 more cards I want to talk about. Maybe 3 actually. So there's the Suez Sewers, which is the last one of the second row. And yeah, this one, Skewers, sorry. And,
wow, 35. Jeez.
Yeah, it's just a huge gather rate card for hunting and livestock. The only difference with spice trade is it doesn't actually increase the yield, so you don't get any extra out of the hunts. Can be nice if you need a lot of food.
Yeah, you burn through it quick though. 35%
Yeah.
on top of everything else, and then not increasing the amount that it's hunting for is that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's the Masina Madrasa, I think it's called. It's the one next to the Outlaw Combat.
Next to Outlaw Combat.
Yeah, to the right. Yes. And this gives some extra line of sight to universities, but more importantly, it increases coin or mines and trees gather rates by 30% around universities, and it's quite a large aura.
Okay.
So this, yeah, depending on where you put your universities, this can be quite a strong card. It's very situational.
Okay, I see. But more economic options that are available. So if anybody's wondering, if you're looking at this deck, you're like, there's a lot of unit shipments, and I'm looking for something more economic than this is. I mean, 30% near a university. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's just kind of hard to get those specific resources next to your university. Oh, trees are everywhere, but especially the mines, because you also want a university next to a town center, next to a palace, next to a trade post, probably. So yeah, can be a
Okay.
bit of a struggle. Um, then I said there was one more after this with the search sheet too. So next to the outlaw combat, but then on the other side,
Mhm.
the one you showed just a minute ago is actually a notable card. It makes so it's also for the same type of units as the outlaw combat side. It does natives, mercenaries, and outlaws, and it makes them cheaper by 15%. This is very nice if you're going account.
Okay, got it. Um,
Also kind of economic.
and what's that last one? That you said there was two.
Yeah, the last one is the what's it called? It's like I'm not quite sure, but it's like it's next to Magazawa. Or next to Messina Bedrosa as well.
Okay.
It's like a gate, the gate with the red dude.
Gate with the red dude. Here it is.
Yeah,
Gatekeepers.
gatekeeper. Right. So this one, this enables gates to grant nearby units a 5% attack bonus. Honestly, that's just negligible. You just forget about it. But more importantly, it researches city walls, and city walls is basically the wall upgrade. You can get this like just you can ship this and get your walls upgraded. That's basically what it does. It's I never managed to, I never actually made a build around it, but I'm kind of excited to see someone do that and just like completely destroy the whole meta.
Yeah. Okay.
This is an insane card. Like if you make a lot of walls in H2, then H up and you just send this, and it's gonna be so toxic. I don't
Okay.
want to promote it too much.
Yeah, but if you're more of a defensive player, maybe this is the way to go.
Yeah.
Hausa has that option with gatekeepers, so that's interesting.
People might be angry that I skipped some of the other cards, but there's just so much in H3.
Okay. So with that, I think that ends H3. So we only have two
Yeah,
cards left in H4. So what are your two
that's right.
cards?
I don't think there are a lot of cards in H4 that are really worth it. That's my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that like kind of have different views on this, but I would say that you definitely want the Durba Parade in most cases because it's just a really strong upgrade for your cavalry. So maybe you can show this card. It's like the fourth card in the first row, in the second row.
Fourth card in the second row. The Infinite
Fifth, sorry,
Liffey.
fifth.
Fifth.
Yeah,
Okay.
fifth. Mm.
Durbar Parade.
So right. It adds some speed to both the Liffey Knight and the Raider, but most importantly, it gives them extra. It gives them area damage, which they don't have normally. But yeah, this makes them really strong, and it gives them a bit more area damage in trample attack mode. That's just no one really uses that, but if you do, then it's probably very great.
Dang. Okay, so this
Requires
is
good meter.
so you're really leaning into the Raiders. So if you just mass a ton
Yeah.
of Raiders in H3, and then H4 you send that, and I mean they'll just, if they can hit that back line, even though they're a bit weaker, that trample, I'm guessing all of that will really stack up, all of them together.
Oh, and plus the fact they're one pop, so you can have like 100 of them.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. It's a bit expensive to make that many, but yeah, it can get really really good. So I think this is a good card. It's basically House's version of Cav Combat, which they don't have, and it's H4, so it's still it's kind of hard to get there, but
Yeah, I got you.
it's out there.
Okay.
And I want to specifically say that this is not an H4 deck. It's not an H4 oriented or FI oriented deck at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could it be? You only have two cards, but so what's the second one? So now we have the basically our trample tactics essentially.
Maybe so we have one more card, right? Oh, we good?
Yeah, yeah.
One more card. Yeah, I would say either 10 infinite wills or 8 griots.
Interesting. Can you give me the
10
rationale
infinites
for each?
Well, it's basically pretty simple. The 10 infinite wheels is more long-term oriented, and 8 grids is more of a power spike.
Okay, gotcha. Let me see. Let's just
And
go.
also the grids expands your build limits, which can be important later on. But
Right. Right.
there's a lot of honorable mentions here, though.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go through those. Like, what else do you think is here worth talking about?
Right. So maybe let's start quickly with the 10 infinite wheels. Like this is such a good card. If you actually like if you happen to fall behind, and you're in H4, just ship this a few times and you'll be good. So that's one.
Which one was that? Sorry?
The 10 infinite wheels.
10 infinite bills. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just gotta silence this chat for a bit. There we go. And then okay, maybe next up the 8 Leafidis is just really strong. You know, it's a strong unit. What can I say?
Yeah.
They are very expensive, so obviously that makes for a good card. Good card.
Mm-hmm.
Then I hope you covered native. What's it called again? Native treaties with Ethiopia. But,
we didn't get into it. We just did a standard
Okay.
kind of Ethiopia, so not really. We'll maybe do a different video on that one.
I'll make a very short outline then. Basically, with African civs, so this is true for both Ethiopia and Hausa, you get this card in H4 instead of H2, because when you age up with some of the options, you can get native units, and it actually counts them towards the card. So you get a lot more, and they shadow tech.
Okay, nice. So then would you include, so there's certain decks where you would include this then for Hausa?
If you plan to go FI, I mean.
Okay, I see what you mean, because then you can just, you shadow tech your native warriors, you're rapidly getting to industrial, you get champion level natives,
Yeah.
and then, okay, I see.
Then next to that, on the left, there's a Cult of the Dodo. I think that's what's it called. This is a buff for your griots, and it makes them very tanky. Well, much more tanky than they are.
Wow.
And it makes them faster. Oh, this is something I forgot to mention about the griots earlier. People are gonna be so mad at me. The griots actually speed like nearby units up. So they give a speed bonus of 5% to any units in their vicinity.
Okay, so they stun up enemy units and slow down their fire rate while speeding up your own units.
Yeah, but not the fire rate, of course.
Okay, got it. All right, interesting. And so then Dodo Cult will just increase that speed of your units. Is that what that means at 15%?
Well, just the griots. It's just,
just the griots.
speeds up.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay,
But it's still pretty good.
but much tankier, so they can kind of serve on that front line then.
Yeah, which they usually do, and it just means they will survive longer.
Okay, cool. Any other cards?
Maybe a group of cards. We've got all these cards with like combined units. There's like 3 of them. So this is like combined units. Personally, I'm not a big fan of these because you have to like upgrade both of them, and it's kind of annoying. They're gonna be H2 or H3 units when they come in. So yeah, not a big fan, but it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I gotcha. I mean, the Fulani and Lafidi makes, or your Fulani and Raiders kind of makes sense just simply because you are upgrading both of those. But
no, I mean the problem is that so African unit upgrades, they're like in 2 groups. Instead of having an individual upgrade for every unit, you've got 2 groups. You've got one with Fulanis and Javelins in the House's case, and one with Raiders and Lefidis.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that if you want to upgrade both of these units, you have to basically upgrade all of your units, and that's kind of a lot.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
There's some mercenary cards that are really strong. So there's 2 things I want to say about this. If you go to H4, you can choose an age up that grants you 1,000 influence, right? As your age up bonus. And this means that it's pretty easy to send all of the, or most of the mercenary cards because you will have the influence to send them right away. And I would say that the Ascari and the Dahomey cards are both quite good, especially the Ascari one. It's a very nice. It's like a mercenary Carolian basically.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
And then and then the Gatling Camels is a really strong power spike, but it costs 2,000 influence, so this is probably more of a team game thing, but it's really strong.
Yeah, 9 Gatling camos. That sounds really nice. But yeah, like you
Yeah.
said, 2K. I don't know. Maybe.
Uh, yeah, it's possible. There are ways to get this. And then maybe I think that's the last one. Um, I'm just looking around, right? So there's this card which gives you like a barracks and a tower, I think, or a bit more actually, and it also upgrades them. So that's kind of
Is this it? Royal Fortifications?
yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it researches fortified cities, and it gives you some extra build limit on stuff, which is really nice if you're doing like an influence boom and you want like to maximize the amount of palaces and universities you can get. So this helps.
Okay.
And maybe last. Oh, yeah, this is the one I was looking for it. There's the ESO rider shipment, which gives you 6 ESO riders, a bit towards the left. And ESO riders are native units, which you can get with one of your H-ups.
Mm-hmm.
And so basically, there's like a timing, because with the H-up, you also get a technology that clones all of your ESO riders. So whenever these cards come in, you research that tech at the same time, and that means you get a batch of 12 of these guys, and they are
Oh.
really strong. That's great.
Okay. I see. Interesting.
I think back in maybe that's like a year ago or so, there was this player called April, which used to do this ESO FI. It got nerfed after, but it's still out there.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, yeah. So we got a lot of build options here. That's
Right.
pretty cool. Okay. Awesome. Um, so at this point, what I want you to do, if you don't mind, is take a look at this deck. So anybody watching, by the way, just keep your, McCleves is giving you a lot of notes. Hopefully you have your notepad out and you're writing all this down. But
Right.
we'll take a picture of this deck. This is a somewhat standard 1v1 deck for Hausa. And then what I want McCleves to do is take this deck, but then add some water options for Hausa, just in case there's water on the map. I want to disrupt my opponent's water, or maybe potentially go on water myself. What would you have on
Right.
here?
Right, that's a good one. Maybe I want to just add like one more thing. I forgot to mention this earlier when you asked about Hausa's weaknesses, but it kind of strikes with this deck as well. Hausa is really bad in the late game. Like once your natural resources run out, you're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
That's unless maybe you got water, that's a different option. But yeah, that's just a huge problem. There are no good farm cards. There's a few cards, but they're not great. It's just bad. So that's maybe some. And let's go to the water then. Um, I would say that you'd probably take out the calf damage and get the 2 party boats.
Party
Oh, I'm
boats.
sorry. Yeah, battle canoes, but I call them party boats because that's what they look like.
Okay. And they're just like they're the equivalent of a caravel, or what are they like?
Yeah. It's well, they're a little bit different because they are about as powerful as a caravel, I think. Maybe slightly better because they're easier to micro because they shoot from the front. So it's kind of it's just easier to micro. They don't like turn around as much, and they are also able to train units. So it's like a crossing, I would say, between a caravel and a galleon.
Okay, interesting. So pretty good, you would say.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it's a great shipment. Yeah, very good.
Okay. And then any other in H3? Would you put anything in here?
Yes, for sure. I'll probably take out like Magozawa or Four Lephides, and then just take that out. And then you would have to take, I would say, the Shebek. The Shebek is right to the right. Yeah.
Oh, the Shebeck. Oh, Shebeck. Okay, I
This,
see it. I was like, this is not a Shebeck. It's a cannon boat.
no,
Okay, got it.
cannon boats are dumb. It's like one of the worst ships in the game. Just forget about them.
So what? Because it's like a mortar, right? I'm guessing. Like it's just
It's
like a.
it's like a very weak version of the Monitor. Yeah,
Okay, got it.
which is useless. That's all. It's like, well, maybe there are some niche uses. I don't know. But the Shebeck is like a frigate, but stronger.
Okay,
It
got it.
has like really low rate of fire. It shoots very often.
Okay, and then this Shebeck is like just a nice merc shipment that.
Well, yeah, it's a frigate, but it's better, so it costs a little bit of influence.
Okay. But you don't have a frigate yourself, so you're not going to go 3-party boats as you call them, but instead you'll just go.
You can actually train the Shebeck. I think you can actually train the Shebeck, but it costs like 300 coin and 700 influence, something like that. It's really expensive.
Oh, okay, gotcha. But this is kind of like a way to disrupt. But is Hausa any good on water? Would you have like a Hausa water deck? Are they good at a water boom, or are they not really a water kind of civ?
I have a water deck with Hausa, but they're not. There are options because you've got some stuff in H2 that kind of synergize as well, but they aren't very good at defending the water. So once your Shebeck is dead, you don't have a lot of boats. You like Euro civs just get more boats and better boats, and they don't, it's just. But the water boom itself isn't bad. You don't have schooners, but you get some interesting options. So you can age up with Hausa, which grants you 300 wood and a wagon, and the wagon can actually build a dock. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's where you can like get two docks, and then you can ship like 700 wood, 600 wood. You got fish, no, not fish market. I think you got a rendering plant, which helps with gather. So it's a pretty decent fish boom if you manage to get it off. Because the problem, of course, is that well, if you are going for this, you'll be a bit vulnerable. But that's it's true for most. Water booms, I suppose.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting. So there's play. There's options. But as far as it's concerned, this is just a little bit of water just to kind of disrupt your opponent.
Yep.
And just have that as an option. But
I would say.
Yep.
Sorry, I would say Hausa isn't like a typical water save. It's not. It doesn't have any major water options. But it's able to take water if it's needed.
Okay, gotcha. All right, good to know. So anybody watching, just again take your notes and take a screenshot of this. I'm going to go ahead and switch the deck back to how we had it before, and you're going to walk me through really quick the card order for this deck. Now I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, we did cav damage. So when I enter a Hausa game and I open up, kind of walk me through what the general skeleton of the build order is of my card shipments and what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay, so there's like two main builds, I suppose. Do you want to be like aggressive or H3 oriented?
What would be better for a sub 1k elo?
This is really dependent. Well, it's one. Yeah, it's really kind of hard to imagine, but it's really dependent on what civ you're facing. I think.
Okay, so let's just talk about a semi. I guess let's be a little aggressive, and then for some transition option. Okay.
All right, let's do that. I would go. Well, of course, you go for 3 villages first, and. Since we want to be a little bit aggressive, I would say that you're gonna age with Hausa to get 200. Age with Songhai to get 200 coin. Then you ship. You could ship either 5 raiders, or probably better is shipping Palace of Amino as second card, first card in H2. Or probably this, and then so you put the palace down in your base, and maybe you build a university and transition to H2. That could be really nice, and And with the 300 influence, you call your big button from the town center. And meanwhile, with your the wagon that you got from your age up, because you got 200 coin and the wagon, and with the wagon you build a camp, and with the camp you train 5 raiders. Gives you 10 raiders in total with the big button, and you can like go raid with those.
Okay.
And after you have a new shipment, you can ship 700 coin in age up.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, let's get into it then, and we'll probably pause and talk a little bit about age up, so just to give a broad overview, and I'll ask more questions, but let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is let's go back here. I'm going to go into a skirmish, McCleves, and it's going to be against an easy AI because I'm very scared.
Right.
And so let's just do, I don't know, pick a map. What is a dream Hausa map, you would say?
It's a map I really like. Yeah, like scroll a little bit through these slowly. I think Great Plains is quite nice because you get a trade post in base. That's really nice.
Okay,
and you have a lot of herds.
Okay, cool. Great Plains, and so we'll go Great Plains, and you can see I'm a level 1 Hausa, so this is very exciting for me. And we're gonna go difficulty easy, and then you'll just kind of walk me through the build order, and we'll just talk and just demonstrate how it's supposed to be done. You're gonna coach me through this, okay?
Right. Why don't you select green?
I guess I will.
It kind of bugs me,
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll select green. That's fine. Perfect. All right, let's send it. And just be nice to me about the macro and all that kind of stuff, and we'll be just fine. Okay.
Okay. So
they're immediately gonna take that.
Yeah. Well, this is like the Ethiopia star. You put down this. You can go scout around a little bit with your explorer. Trying to find any treasure with multiple gardens. Tusk your cows on the livestock market. If you can find like XP or food treasures, that's the best thing.
Okay, gotcha. I'm not gonna take any treasures this one, but just to.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. Yeah. You want to build one granary. With one of these vills.
With just one vill, right?
Yeah. Probably should have done it a little bit earlier, but that's
okay.
Alright. Yeah, and once the wood counter on your market hits 150, we want to just sell a cow.
Okay, I see. Or should I take a treasure? Well, I don't want to take a treasure and mess up like.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Well, you might lack a little bit XP, but that's fine. Okay, you sell a cow for wood.
Can I do it from here? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and then you get the hunting dogs from the village dogs, and you build a house.
Okay. Well, we'll take this one. Might as well. So how many vills do I want to age up with then?
Generally, so if we're going aggressive and we found some like food treasure, then I would say 14. And if you get too much idle time, then just go for 15.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, 14 is usually my go-to if I want to be aggressive, and if I go for an H3, then like a negative, I'll go 15.
So 100 coin for Senga cattle, and then so 3 vills for shipment, like you said.
Yeah, three vills, yeah.
So at what point do I want to try to? I guess I want to try to look for my next hunt. Try to pull that in with the next vill, right?
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. And while we're we're not down to age up yet, but just need to count a little bit because. I don't usually do that either, actually, but that's alright.
What, that far out?
Yeah, well, I suspect there should be like a herd closer to the town, but
probably down here. Actually.
We were just really unlucky this game. It happens. I usually just try to herd them like towards my existing granary and just get them there. The granaries can be like a little bit annoying too, because sometimes you let your vills keep like walking around them.
Right.
Then so once we're going to age up, we need like a few vills on coin, because we'll need 45 times 5, which is like a little bit more than 200 coin. So like one villager and coin is probably enough. Actually, no more. Yeah, like one is enough at first, and then like the rest is just on hunts. But once we're H2, we probably want more than. Yeah, just actually just put like 2 or 3 on coin. That's fine.
Okay, and then so we're gonna
age
advance
up with
here.
Songhai.
So here I'm gonna pause, and then we're gonna do an age up. So what are we dealing with here? So you said Songhai. What does that give me? That's raid ability.
Songhai gives you.
I see.
Yeah, so it gives you the big button at the TC, which spawns some raiders, and then it gives you an option to like pay some influence to get more influence according to how much time has passed or how many units you kill. I'm not sure.
Okay, gotcha. And then what are some other any other H2 options that you go for or no?
Yes, yeah, for sure. The Berbers and Hausa are both quite good for H2, and Moroccans is good for H3.
Okay.
For H2, but like if you're going H3.
Okay, I see. Because this gives me the university stuff. Okay, I see.
Yeah, these are the technologies that you get, and with the Berbers you can get like the Berbers is a really strong boomy option, and say Hausa is also kind of boomy, or if you go water, then Hausa is also nice, and if you go aggressive, I would say Songhai, and for FF Morocco.
Okay, FF is Morocco because you get. Is there
XP.
like a fast? It's XP.
Yeah, it's because of the XP. You get a mosque, which also helps with like XP trickle, and most importantly, so if you go H3, you want to send Hausa Kingdom in transition, which means you won't get a card right away in H2. So the 400 XP makes up for that.
Okay, gotcha. And then this is interesting.
That's not very important.
Okay.
Those decks are not. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so we're gonna go Songhai here. So I'm gonna unpause and we're gonna go Songhai. All right, cool.
Yeah.
And then so, like you said, I needed a few.
Yeah, you just need more stuff on the herd. Like more food is better. We're kind of unlucky with the herds here, but oh well.
Yeah, we'll deal with it. So I have my 3 on coin. So how much coin do I need in the transition? We're just prepping for snares. Is that what it is?
No. We're prepping for a batch of 5.
Oh, 5 raiders. Okay, I see.
5 raiders.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like we need like a little bit more than 200. And after that, we'll need 300 to age up. So you can like keep gathering coin after that. It's all right.
Okay.
I like to usually like just get the wood upgrade here because it's like 40 food, which is like nothing.
Okay, and then we want to wait for me to send House of Kingdom, right? We want to time it.
No, we won't get House of Kingdom at all in this in aggressive games.
Okay. So we'll hang on to this.
Yeah. Yeah, because it just costs too much tempo. So if you want to send House of Kingdom into H2, then you'll probably have to set to Age with Morocco to get the XP and like keep your tempo up.
Okay, so we're just sitting and waiting, and then got a Vil.
Yeah, these Vils on the mine, they'll like gather up the coin that you get from the age up.
Okay.
And with the wagon you get, you build a camp, a war camp. So W, yeah. Yeah, I usually just put it in base if I'm going Cav, because, you know, Cav is fast.
Gotcha.
And then Amina's Palace.
And then 700 wood?
No, Palace of Amina is better.
Oh, right.
Right, and then I would suggest you sell a cow for wood. You build you build a house, and now you can like build a university probably, or I think that's the correct choice is a university with your explorer.
Oh, with my explorer, I didn't know. Okay, so your explorer can build a university.
Yeah, you can put this one so it touches both the TC and the trade post.
Oh, okay, I see.
Right.
Okay, so that's
right. Just one batch is enough. Yeah, and then as soon as so you gotta like gather up the influence.
Okay,
so I see we won't have enough influence right away this time, but it's
okay. I see. You want to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want to push that button as soon as you can, and just like maybe some more like any extra vills you get on coin, Oh, the palace should probably have gone next to the university, but alright.
Oh, I figured it was a forward base, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
And now it's 700 coin. It can work as a forward base, of course. That's right. Yeah, as soon as you get this, you can
My treasures pile
you
up.
can actually
Yet
sip
you
those
have
from the
Is something wrong?
from towers as well, I think, but maybe not from the palace. Right, and just continue training Veils too, of course.
Yep.
So yeah, 7 minutes, got a little bit late, but alright. We got like 10 cav.
Yeah, we paused things and you know, so we're having.
Right.
Did that not ship? Oh, it ended up shipping here anyway.
It should be. And if you were up like against like France or say Lakota, like you'll probably be making a batch of javelins instead of making a batch of.
Oh, it's bouncing out because of the cattle right there.
Yeah, this is annoying.
Very.
Yeah, it's always like this is one of the struggles with Hausa, honestly, because it happens with the granary too, where you're also like walking around because they and then there's like an Ulan coming and they have to like walk around the granary to get into TC and stuff like that. This kind of stuff is just you need to be careful about where you pay stuff.
Okay, but then you want to raid or whatever it is, right? You want to raid, and you can get quite a few. Oh, we're gonna pick up one here.
Yeah, or just like take down a house if you're against the Civ that's like. That doesn't like that basically, and then now you could like age up with probably a Khan, which is a nice power spike, okay. or Morocco for them. Yeah, just pause it.
Yeah, we'll pause it and then we'll go for you're saying Akan, so we can get the Akan on Kobia, right?
Akan is the power spike, and you get 6. I said 8 earlier, but you get 6 accounts, and Morocco enables you to like send another shipment right away, and another option would be like any Hausa or Berbers to boom.
Gotcha. Okay, and then we wanna when do we want to train another cattle? Just when I have, because I only have 3. Or do you ever train cattle?
You don't train cattle. So you get them from the shipments. So you just
you don't feel any need. So when do I want to?
No, you can train more raiders, I suppose.
Do we not want
to? Oh, that was actually fun. Alright. Yeah, build a TP once you get. I mean, you could even just sell a cow for wood right now. That's alright, and then like build a TP and probably like houses, or maybe like get snares. Although get snares from here, and then probably like maybe like one house, and if you put like one villager on wood, you'll be able to get places.
Okay, and so that's going to be a slow age up, but there's no. I would need to get what age up would I need in order.
Yeah, if you get the big button, the Hausa big button, or the Raider big button, you won't be able to get the fast age up tech, which costs like 450 influence.
So which age up gives me the fast age up?
None. There's like a technology in your university that allows you to get that for 450 influence.
Is it this? Yeah, this one. Oh,
yes.
Okay. So then that's what. Oh, okay. I see.
But it only gives a faster age up. So, like, yeah, this is also one of the reasons that House is kind of susceptible to like tempo builds, because they have like a slow game. You know, it's just slow XP curve, slow aging. That's just what it is.
Yeah, and I'm now lagging pretty bad, so we'll just kind of wait for it to just kind of figure itself out. So that's unfortunate, but all right. So then we got the Akan, and then those become trainable here, so we can see those cost 100. Right?
Yeah, but these are the native, so you still have a build limit on these, like 12%.
Oh, I see. So I would still need to send my Ganangchi, right, in order to.
Yeah, but you probably wouldn't, because you'll get this imported cannon stack and just train 2 falconets.
Right.
Although you don't really have much to. You probably like need to protect your falconets. So yeah, you could like train some. I think you can like train like 2 batches of javelin riders. Yeah.
Okay.
And you could even like sell another cow for a coin, and then like that makes you have enough to actually like train like 2 more batches.
Umarni me kake
You could almost
Umarni
you don't really have
an
to wait
gama
for that.
zan je farauta.
Yeah, see,
mean,
'cause
this-
at what point do you chop for wood? You know, that's one of the questions with.
Sometimes I've got like 1 or 2 vills on wood just to get
Nashiria,
like some
me
text and
kake
stuff,
so?
and then if I want to make like full armies, then I'll definitely chop a lot more.
Right, because you're gonna need to. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
play it by ear.
And
So that's the 2
and you
falconets
can
right there.
like get 2 of these. You probably want to like. Sometimes I just like.
I just want to show the griots, so I'm gonna ship that now.
Buy some wood instead.
Right, with the coin. But I'm gonna ship griots now just so we can kind of
That's
show
good.
those.
Yeah, you do need to like buy some wood now for population because that card is actually 15.
ba matsala zan je farauta.
Right. Okay. We can sell. Just sell that. That's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
And then, because I want to upgrade this, because we need that for. We've been needing that for.
Yeah, it's nice. You can keep training units with your barracks as well.
Right.
Probably some Leafees right now because you've got so much res, and Leafees are like expensive.
Umarni
And you can do another big button if you time center too.
zan yi saran itace.
Oh, nice. And that gives me another 5. So you can just keep repeating that.
Yeah. Well, every time you've got 500 influence, and there's a cooldown on it too.
Okay, so this moves quick. They end up building and getting units out really fast. It feels like.
Yeah, it's a very spammy civ. Yeah.
Umarni an gama
true.
zan je farauta.
Interesting.
Magini yayi.
Sorry for all these idols,
They're-
everybody.
There are quite a lot of like one-pop cheap units. That's basically House's trademark. You know, they're like
And here are the griots.
it's
And this
kind of like China a bit.
There it is. See. And then
Yeah,
they do
there we
that.
go. And if you like micro them, you can like stun all of these easily.
Oh, I see. You can,
I do not
okay.
know how.
Yeah, there's one problem
You
with
were the
these is
better
that
war chief today.
they don't actually stun if you don't manually task them to attack a unit. They will attack, but they won't stun. So that's kind of weird. But I think it's a bug.
Okay, gotcha. But so everybody kind of gets an idea of what we're going for here. It's a very loose build, but essentially you're going to raid, you'll build a counter, and then you just kind of snowball from there. And then I think what you would want to do is use that wood. One of the things that we neglected is really properly like getting the university and the palace together. That was one thing, and then making sure you get the trade posts down. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty solid. You guys get an idea of. You can use the cattle. You keep getting more cattle. It keeps giving you resource, so it's not as intensive as Ethiopia. That's pretty nice.
Right.
And then you can stay in extended H2 if you want to go a con, or you could just go ahead and switch up. One of the things that is needed though, is like instead of going the Amani, you can definitely do the fast age up here, the 450, which is pretty nice.
Instead of doing the raid, yeah. But if you want to really
Oh, sorry, you're cutting out.
age right away, get the House of Kingdom, and just do it that way.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, so plenty of options. Oh, lots of fists. That's kind of annoying, all that shouting that they're doing. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just quit out of here. Is there any other like quick things that you want to say about that? Anything that you saw that you want to kind of give a comment on for people watching that you're thinking, okay, like here's some other things to think about as you're playing Hausa.
Well, not specifically. I would say that just make sure you always have some natural resources. This is really important. Like it's a little bit like Brits, where if you run out of natural resources, the game just becomes really hard.
Right.
So this is really a big thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, everybody, I thank you for watching. I hope you're like, there was a lot to keep track of there. There was a lot for us to discuss, but as McCleves said, generally speaking, like, House of Kingdoms, if you're doing a more kind of like boom, if you have the time, but in an aggressive kind of setting, you want to go the 3 vills, and then that's going to lead you into Songhai, which then you're going to make 5 raiders and then have the big button for your 5 raiders. Or if they're going to make cav, you want to go javelin rider, whatever it may be. and then you're gonna then transition through Palace of Amani, which is or Amina, which is gonna be nice. It's gonna give you a palace. It's gonna give you influence, and then from there 700 coin, and then you're gonna transition from there. So that's a pretty good semi-FF. But like you said, there's plenty. Like you can stay H2, do the 700 wool. You can Kukanachi. There's tons of
or unit shipments. It's like 7 Fulani is a nice follow-up because it will like deal with anti-cav.
Right. Huge. Okay, cool. So that was a lot, but I hope you all enjoyed this coverage of Hausa. I hope that it's beneficial as you're kind of looking at African civs. I know there's one guy who's been constantly commenting for a Hausa coverage in our comments, so this one's for you. And so hopefully we will be continuing our coverage of all the other different civs. But this is a good generalized option. And again, feel free to join our Discord. The link will be in the description, and you can ask all the various questions about Hausa if you have even more questions. But McCleves is a great source for all this, as well as 3D Jacob, who is also in the Discord. So either way, thank you so much, everyone, for listening and watching. Please feel free to hit a like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.